Everything old is new again. America's entertainment pop culture talk show.
It may well possess a rudimentary intelligence.
I'm trying to think, but nothing happens.
Felt a great disturbance in the force.
Hello, I'm Mr. Red.
Come on, Mark, like a dog for me.
Where's the goodies?
Leave the gun. Take the cannoli.
I bet you wouldn't have done anything like this if Mom and Dad were here.
You filthy criminal.
Excuse me while I whip this out.
Go ahead. Make my day.
Here are your hosts, Douglas Viviani and David Cohen.
Congratulations. You've been chosen to teach summer school. Oh, I'm not a real teacher. That's all right. These aren't real students. They're unmotivated, irresponsible, not too bright. They'll relate to you.
Is that true or not? This is Douglas Viviani of Everything Old is New Again, and I'm sitting here with the summer solstice himself, David Cohen.
Summer solstice. All right.
Best thing I can do there, because
That's a huge title.
It is, and it's a huge topic here of, I'm going to say this is sort of an underground topic. Summer school. Way? I don't know if you have gone to summer school, if you'll ever even talk about it, because it's usually not something you're proud of, right? Usually. And or no one even really mentions that summer school exists, but it does. There's a lot that goes on in school in the summertime. And we're approaching the summer now. It's March when, we are here sitting on Everything Old is New Again, and we're looking forward to commencement and all that. And everybody is out of school now these days, end of May almost, believe it or not, right? Middle of June, latest. And summer's upon us. David Cohen, did you ever go to summer school at all, ever, for any reason?
I had to take a course in college because I was told by the school I was attending that I'd be short credits. So I had to take this statistics course. And as it turned out, I didn't actually need to take it. I sat for the whole course. I did pretty well, but it was a complete waste of time.
Now, did it disturb or, interrupt your summer, though? We're talking about college age.
It did. It was a pain in the neck.
Yeah, you got stuff to do.
I didn't need to be going to this class, and it was I don't know if it met, maybe 2 or 3 times a week.
So
yeah, it was a pain in the neck.
But were you surrounded? You were not. I don't know how to say. Were you surrounded by people that had failed and had to retake this course, or do you not know?
No, not at all. The people, from what I remember, were nice enough. It was at a community college. I was home from where I went to school, the University of Maryland.
Okay.
So yeah, it was all I think that this is like a commuter community college. So. Yeah.
Right. Well, here's my thing.
Didn't make any lifetime friends. Didn't go to any games or anything. So it was just.
But you went voluntarily. How about high school? Most of the time.
No, I did not go voluntarily. I went because I thought I needed these credits.
That's true.
So, I didn't get. When you say voluntarily, when you talk about summer school, we're talking not college. We're talking,
I'm kind of talking about high school.
Right, middle school. So usually when you go to summer school, it's because you failed, right?
Correct.
That was not the case for me.
Okay. Well, here's the reason. Here's the thing. Let's go.
I can go on about this if you'd like.
Yeah,
I have another,
I'm trying to hold on to the few that are still listening. And we'll move on. My point being is in high school and even before, most of the time the reason why you go to summer school is because you failed. I mean, you're out. Sure. And everybody else is playing basketball and baseball and whatever, and you're at summer school, which is a drag.
Did you go to summer school?
I did, and I will tell you, I voluntarily went to summer school, and it wasn't because of grades.
Yeah, I was going to say, look, you were no genius. I think we all knew that in school, but, it's not like you failed.
No, I was I think maybe a 90, 91, 89 around that.
If you were lucky. So why did you volunteer to go to summer school?
Well, I'll tell you.
Why?
There's a story. You know what I'm going to do? I'm going to set this up. I will begin telling the story in the second portion of this show. Because I want to just explore.
So what are we going to do in this portion?
I just want
about how you're going to talk about it?
Well, I want to talk about that. In pop culture, we saw a summer school movie. It was a Carl Reiner movie in 1987, woefully under. What would you say? It sort of was not really a good movie. Let's remember. You don't even remember the movie, correct?
No,
let's be
I
honest.
don't.
All right. There was also Animal House, and I just want to talk about this. There are times when you don't do well in a class because of this.
Okay. Don't write this down, but I find Milton probably
as boring as you find Milton. Mrs. Milton found him boring too. He's a little bit long-winded. He doesn't translate very well into our generation, and his jokes are terrible. But that does not relieve you from your responsibility for this material. I'm waiting for reports from some of you. I'm not joking. This is my job.
We've had teachers like that, right? These subjects are so incredibly dry. And I know at some point it's even worse by being delivered by someone that just shouldn't be before these kids. Does that make any sense?
Right. Yeah.
And so that's one reason I guess you could fail a subject, and I'll get to my story in a minute. But then there's another representation in Ferris Bueller's Day Off. Remember that? And they got this
Anderson. Anderson.
Here.
Bueller.
He's sick. My best friend's sister's boyfriend's brother's girlfriend heard from this guy who knows this kid is going with the girl who saw Ferris pass out at 31 Flavors last night. I guess it's pretty serious.
Thank you, Simone.
No problem whatsoever.
So there's always the student that's very, very, what would you say, into school, that knows the answers. We know a young lady like this, knows all that goes on with everyone. And
sure.
there's those of us that there are times when you and I would just kind of play hooky here and there. No? No. You did, I think. I actually did it with Ken Scalepi, I think, more than you.
No, I did occasionally.
Once in a while.
Occasionally.
We would do stuff. But, so that's a reason why this failure. Then there's the other, just to give a little family flavor here of the different kinds of things, if you remember what was going on in high school back in the day.
What is this fascination with truancy? What is it that gets inside your heads? What's the reason for your truancy?
Just couldn't make it on time.
Why are you continuously late for this class, Mr. Spicoli? Why do you shamelessly waste my time like this?
I don't know.
I like that. I don't know. That's nice. Mr. Hand, will I pass this class? Gee, Mr. Spicoli, I don't know.
There we go. So we finally got, a little feeling, a smile on David Cole's
that was such a great movie, but our generation, we just missed that. That came in after we, I think, had matured into adults. So we missed, it would have been definitely a big part of our culture growing up, right? Fast Times.
There's no doubt.
Yeah.
That was who was your favorite character in that? I don't remember the names of all these guys, but the guy that sold the tickets, what was that guy's name? Simone, what the heck?
Damone.
Yeah.
Damone.
That was my favorite guy. But everyone
Really?
had someone they could relate to.
It was so sleazy.
Correct.
Spicoli, he was my favorite.
He's your guy.
Oh.
Well, let me ask you a question. Out of all those, characters in that movie, which one did you say was more like you in your attitude?
Probably
towards
Judge
school?
Reinhold. Probably that character he played.
Now, what did he do with respect to school?
He was Phoebe Cates' older brother.
Yeah, of course. And he was the guy that was at the.
He was responsible. He had a job, and then
he worked.
He couldn't take the job anymore, and
so you worked at the Sears, I remember. Or didn't you? Where did you work during?
I worked at a CVS in the Sears Mall.
Oh, the CV. You weren't even in Sears. You were in the CVS. What in the world did you do?
It's not like I tried to get into Sears and only got CVS. What does that mean? I worked at a CVS.
But
you didn't even make it to Sears.
But what in the world could you do at CVS as a kid at 17? Stock the shelves?
Oh, there's a lot of stocking of shelves and boxes of inventory that would come in that needed to be unpacked.
Oh, God, I could never
put in the back.
Oh, how could you do that?
Oh,
I admire
there was a girl
that
I worked with that I was madly in love with. Yeah.
From what school did she come from?
It was a different school. She was a year younger than me. But I never had the guts to ask her out.
Wow.
Never had the self-confidence. And I found out later that she would have gone out with me if I would have asked her.
How'd you find that out?
Through this assistant manager. There's a local dude who introduced me to certain things. He was my mentor. He was a complete burnout. Remember burnouts back in the day?
Yes.
So he was the assistant manager, and he was always milling around. And
so he's
after I quit, he said to me, Lisa always digged you. I'm like,
oh man,
what? What? Oh, yeah. She definitely would have gone out with you. You just never asked her.
And it was too late.
No. It was too late.
Why? She was on her way to some other adventure?
Well, she went to another school and, she wasn't there that day, the day I was leaving. So I had no way of contacting. There was no internet or anything back then. You either had a phone number or you had nothing, right? And I never got her phone number. So
had you gotten her phone number, you could have taken us down the road of a story of a young lady, like I'm going to take us down the next when we get back here.
Well, no, I hope it wouldn't be the same situation as you and your young lady that we've been talking about constantly for years.
We'll find out in a moment. We're back with Anything Old, New Again, talking summer school.
You're listening to Everything Old is New Again, America's entertainment pop culture talk show with Douglas Viviani and David Cohen.
Excuse me. You, dropped this. And I, picked it up. For you. Thank you.
Fact. Lead conducts electricity.
We're back and Everything Old is New Again. That kind of sounds like myself in 9th grade. You got that young lady like that you're enamored with, and she drops a pencil or something. You're actually speaking to her for the first time, and you really don't know what to say. But there's that onus upon you that you've got to make an impression. You've got to be that guy, right? You see all these movies, you see all this stuff, and you're like in 9th grade, you don't know anything about anything, but you just know that there's some electricity between you and somebody else, right? And you want to get rolling on that. So,
or you don't, like in my case.
Exactly. You don't move on it. So that was failure in your part, let's just say, in some ways, and kind of like segueing into summer school. Usually that is a wonderland of people that have failed classes, and for various reasons that we just spoke about. But in my situation, and I didn't know that this existed, I had Mr. McVie, and he was my guidance counselor in junior high school. And believe it or not, in 9th grade, I did pretty good. I was in the honor roll.
You did pretty well.
Yeah, it's just I didn't do great. I did pretty good. See, you could see right away I didn't have English.
I was correcting your grammar.
I know. See, I didn't actually do great. I did well.
I did pretty good.
Did pretty good. So that's. I didn't say I was perfect, but okay. Obviously, but he called me in.
You were a good student.
He called me in.
You were a good student.
And he said, "Listen," he said, "You're going into high school. Like for us, high school is 10th grade. So you're going into high school next year, Half Valley Hills High School East." Yes. He said, "Why don't you take a summer school class or two?" And what are you talking about, summer school? I didn't fail anything. He said, "Well, you can actually get ahead." And I didn't know about this. You could get ahead. You could take a summer school class in the summer before high school, free up your schedule a little bit, and have an extra period off, or take an elective that you wanted to take, an extra elective. You could start. You're doing well. You qualify for this. Why don't you do this? And I'm thinking about it, and I'm sort of like, I don't know if I want to do this. All right, let me go and see what it's like to sign up, see who's doing this. So I go in to sign up for this.
You got to see who else is going to sign up.
Yeah, is it like? Because usually the summertime I'm out playing baseball at the field. My buddies. It's a lot going on in the summertime, 9th grade.
Sure.
It's kind of you're not driving yet, but you're kind of like you can get rides and stuff or whatever it might be, and you're doing a lot of stuff. You're having some fun. It's a good time, or you're cutting the grass and you're making money doing that. Whatever, you're doing stuff. So I said, let me try. So I go to sign up, like McVie, he's right there, and he says, just go down the hall and take a look. And I go in and I see the young lady.
Oh, the young lady.
Yeah, the young lady.
I didn't know this was a young lady story.
Yeah, well, it is and it isn't. So she's in the story, but it's not entirely.
Okay, not about her.
Yeah.
Okay.
So, but I see you there. And it was just like that Wonder Years. It was the first time I would say it's the first time I met her. Then I met her, and then we forgot about each other. I met her later on. But this was like the first initial run-in with the young lady.
Oh,
and she was a year younger, but she was a smart one too. I shouldn't say I'm smart, but she was a smart one. And she was on this as well. She was signing up. I go, hi. And she, I had seen her here and there, but never really talked to her. And she said, hi, you're here. Yeah. What do you do? I'm signing up. She's signing up for American history. And I like American history. I want to hear about, Thomas Jefferson and all that stuff, the founding fathers, Lincoln, all that.
I bet you did. I bet you did.
This was like icing on the cake. I was you know what? Mr. McVie is right. I'm in. I'm going.
Right. I didn't know it until this particular second.
So I signed up for that. I said, what else are you signing up for? She says, well, I'm just going to go for swimming just to relax. If you remember, now you may not remember this, high school West, brand new high school in our area.
Swimming pool.
They built a swimming pool.
Right.
And it was the first year that they were going to be open. So they had a swimming class. Now, at the time, I had no pool in the backyard. I shouldn't say that. We had an out-of-ground pool. Those one of the big ones above ground. And we had a fence. And all we would do is dive, jump in and play, play dodgeball against my brother or whatever. Every once in a while, the ball would go out. You'd jump out, get the ball, bring it back in. That was the extent. So I didn't really swim too well. I didn't know how to dive, nothing like that. So, all right, maybe I'll do this. What the heck?
Yeah, well, why not, right? I mean, what a great suggestion. So whatever she was going to sign up for, you were going to sign up.
And she was going to be
obviously.
And she was going to be in a bathing suit. She was going to be in a bathing suit.
Yeah, we get that. Yes.
And I had, you talk about bathing
territory, sure.
I had bathing suits.
had bathing suits.
I had the Hulk bathing suit. I had the Fantastic Four bathing suit. I had the Avengers bathing suit. Before all of this was popular.
Before it was popular?
Are you kidding?
When was it popular?
It was popular. It was popular in, pop culture in the comic book world, but that was it. There wouldn't, of course, there were no
definitely
movies.
Not the world you were entering.
Or trying to enter. Let's put it that way. So, so I got new bathing suits and all that. And I'm in. So, okay. So I sign up and I go. And now, so when you go to school in the summer, the world is different. Have you ever been to a school in the summer? Like, seriously?
No.
Right,
no,
so
I have not.
It's pregnant with hope, let's say. Like, it's you.
Pregnant with hope? Are you writing a novel? What's happening right here? The school that summer was pregnant with hope.
You walk in, and the school looks totally different because there's not many people in it. Everything's clean. And it's like, wow, nobody's in the way of me kind of getting my education. Now, my education in my world was not going to be about American history. It was going to be more of a social education to kind of learn about this young lady. So I get in, and the class is happening. But in the summer,
and just to make sure, pregnant with hope was about as far as we're going with pregnant for summer school. Is that okay? Good.
That's correct.
Just want to make sure.
But I was, looking out the window and sort of looking in and looking at her and dealing with the teacher and all that. But in the summer, you have extra stuff that can cause you problems, such as the lawnmower. You got they're cutting the grass out back, next to the classroom. So you got that smell.
You can't hear the teacher, in other words.
Right, can't hear the teacher. You got that smell of the green grass in the summer.
That's nice.
So it's nice, but you don't want to be in this school, really, right? Too much, right?
Right.
And you also have this.
It's luring you. It's luring you out.
It is, but when you have a teacher like this.
In 1930, the Republican-controlled House of Representatives, in an effort to alleviate the effects of the anyone, the Great Depression.
This was the
passed
class.
Anyone, a tariff bill, the Hawley-Smoot.
You ever have a teacher like this?
Which
the class is
anyone raised or lowered?
Sure.
Raised tariffs in an effort to collect more revenue for the federal government.
So I'm writing.
Did it work?
I'm hearing this.
Anyone know the effect?
I'm totally silent.
It did not work, and the United States sank deeper into the Great Depression.
I'm starting to write
Today,
notes.
we have a similar debate over this. Anyone know what this is, class? Anyone? Anyone? Anyone seen this before?
What is that?
The Laffer curve. Anyone know what this says? It says that at this point on the revenue curve, you will get exactly the same amount of revenue.
That woke me up.
As at this point. This is very controversial.
Right, so
does anyone know what Vice President Bush called this in 1980?
Are you playing the whole movie?
Yes. I don't know why I can't turn it off. Stop already.
Voodoo economics.
So, but while he's doing that, he's losing me, right? I wanted to learn about American history. I didn't want to hear that stuff. So, right. I was okay. And then, I'm looking over to the young lady, but she is like into this, taking notes like crazy. And I'm saying to myself, how do I get her attention? What am I going to do? And then I hear, you hear this, like, How
do I disrupt her learning process?
Exactly. But the tennis courts are not so far either. And there they are outside playing the tennis.
Right now, is that a ball being?
That's a ball being.
Okay.
I can stop that. I don't need more of that. But
no.
But so they, you hear that, and then you hear it stop every so often, people talking, laughing, and then they're hitting the ball again. So, like, my attention is sort of waning at this point. But I'm going to go through with this, and I'm going to continue, and because I've got swimming class next after this. And
so you were still pregnant with hope at that point.
I sure was, and we will see where that goes shortly. But before, I do want to just say that when that class was over, I got to go into the swimming area. Now, the swimming area was an indoor pool. It was brand new. So we go over, and, she's over there as well. And, again, we don't know each other all that well at all. But I do remember going in there, and there was this teacher, Mr. Heyman. Remember this guy?
Mr. Heyman? Vaguely.
He was a baseball coach, but he also was apparently a very good swimmer and diver. And so I said, this is going to be very cool. I'm going to get involved with swimming. He comes in and he kind of blows a whistle and he said, listen, this is the summer school. We're going to have a great time. It's not a team. You're not trying out for the team or anything like that. Let's just learn a little bit about swimming and diving. He goes, how about diving? Anybody do any diving? To me, diving at that point were like pin dives and cannonballs. Like, can you do any dives now? I mean, I knew nothing else.
I could never get the hang of diving. No.
So this was my anticipation. This fella actually he goes to the end of the diving board, like you bounce on the board a little bit, and it makes that sound, and then he up he goes, and he spreads his arms, and he does a swan dive, puts the arms back, right into the water.
Nice.
And I go,
very little splash.
Yeah, no splash. I go, this is the guy. I'm going to learn how to swim and dive from this guy. And let's find out what happens when I get back. Everything old is new again. Summer school.
Now, back to America's entertainment pop culture talk show. Everything old is new again with Douglas Viviani and David Cohen.
Welcome to Contemporary American History. I'm Professor Turgison. A lot of people think history is just facts. It's just information about the past. But not me. I hold history very sacred. Sacred. So why don't we dive right in by interpreting one of the easiest events in the last 20 years of American history.
There we go. Back here on Everything Old is New again, we're talking summer school. And I don't know if you've ever experienced it. I think more people than not have experienced summer school. My experience was one that was mixed, where it was very interesting. I had the opportunity to take a history course, get credit for that, going into high school, but I was distracted by lots of things, including the young lady. And here I am.
And diving?
Here I am learning to dive. And I'm thinking to myself, she's swim like I'm swimming like a lug. Like if you kind of don't really know how to swim, you're kind of like flopping around and stuff.
Splashing around.
Yeah. So here I am in the pool, and I'm doing that, and I see the young lady swim by. And when someone knows how to swim, right? Here's the background sound.
Yeah.
About that. But, they have that. There we go. They have that great, swim about them.
Right, so, yeah. Let me ask you something, though.
Yes.
So you said the young lady swam by, right?
Yes.
Were you were obsessed with the young lady, right? You knew where she was every second that when you were in the pool area. Am I right?
You bet I was.
Okay. I just want to make that clear because you sounded like it was very coincidental.
I did make that sound
she happened
casual.
to swim by. Okay.
I did make it. She happened to swim by in her mind. In my mind, I was on high alert. On high alert. There she goes. Oh, there she goes. I thought she was going to say something. She's got it. But she's swimming like an angel, right? And she gets out.
I've never seen an angel swim, but okay.
She gets out and she does a pike dive. You ever seen one of these?
Yeah.
They dive up and they hit your kind of toe. I can't bend over and reach my toes, even back then, on dry land. Could you? I mean, like,
no. She's
doing that on a dive into the water and back into no splash, nothing. This is so I know that she's got a pool and she's got experience. So I think this is great for me, though. I'm going to really have a nice time. I'm just going to sort of let Mr. Heyman mold me into a great diver, a great swimmer, and then maybe by the end of the summer, I'll have developed a relationship with this young lady from swimming and maybe I'll get an invite back to the house or something, because she'll see that I'm a swimmer too. But right now I'm a lug. So then, I'll make it short. Mr. Heyman comes back and he goes, let me show you what I'm doing here with that dive. You saw that swan dive, right? Let me just show you a little something how I do it. This is how I do it, and he takes a step and off he goes into that dive. And when you see someone dive good, am I wrong? When you see someone that knows how to dive, what do you think? They're aristocratic in some way, aren't they? I mean, like they've had the time to learn to dive.
Yeah, it's a beautiful thing. Yeah, right. In other words, they grew up. They were privileged. Is that what you're saying?
I guess. Yeah, they got a little more of an opportunity than some others, right? I mean, if you're learning to dive, you're not cutting the grass in your backyard. You're not. You know what I mean? You're not. Whatever.
You have to have access to a high diving board somewhere.
That's true
right?
too. Yeah.
Okay.
And someone to teach you all that stuff and whatever.
Sure.
So I was loving this class. This was.
But maybe he went to college. Maybe he learned in college.
True.
I mean,
true. Yeah, absolutely. But he was trying to.
Okay, but anyway, but to you as a kid,
I looked forward to this every day. I learned a little something every day. I was getting better. I was learning how to dive and swim, and the young lady's taking a little interest here and there. She'd take a look over and say hello and whatever. And then I'd say to myself, let me give it a shot. She's looking at me.
I can barely hear you. Is there a reason why you're suddenly speaking to yourself only? What's happening?
Because I'm kind of thinking to myself, I'm just into my own mind, Look at she's coming close. All right, I'm going to take a dive. Here we go. Let's just show off. I got the Hulk pajamas. The Hulk, pants on, the Hulk's
impressive.
Yeah. It's everything. So that's that. I went back to, of course, history class every so often, right? Got to do that.
Mm-hmm.
So now they give a test for history, and this is sort of
your desk
what
should
happened.
Be clear of everything but your pencil.
And I was very distracted. I was not into the history. I was into the swimming. Swimming was my thing. That's how I was going to get this young lady. Really going to have fun. So I'm looking at this test. Do you ever get this feeling? Total panic. You never had this. I know you never had this. I knew nothing.
Not total panic, but
I did not concentrate on this test, on this subject. I did not listen to this. Summer school to me was a shot in the dark just to see if I can get a little closer to the young lady. So what happens? I took the test, and the next day, I find out from Mr. Hand. Like
C, D, F.
Yeah.
Did you
3
fail?
weeks we've been talking about the Platt Amendment. What are you people? On dope?
Yeah, this is what I felt. I felt like ultimate, I've never failed anything in my life. I failed the midterm on this American history because all I was thinking about was
why did you? I thought you were a good student, so why?
All I was thinking about was swimming. I was distracted by all the activities outside, and I couldn't believe that I actually had to study and take a test. So I failed it. But I didn't really care. Because if you failed it, does it matter? Is it on your record? It kind of doesn't matter because you took it. But so I go, I don't really care. All I want to do is go to swim a little bit more. So I go into the swim area after that, and Mr. Heyman comes up to me and says, I just got a call. I heard you didn't do too well in the history exam. I said, no, yeah, I'll do better. I'll get the final and then whatever it might be. He says, no. In summer school, if you fail that, the midterm, there's no time to come back. They're not giving you a second chance. You're out. So I'm out of history. And so I said, all right, well, I'll still take to me it was fine. I could still take the swimming class. No, you're out of everything. You can't take the swimming class either.
What?
Yeah. So by not paying attention to what I was supposed to be paying attention to, except the young lady, I lost the opportunity, so that was the end.
So they wouldn't even give you a chance to retake the test?
No.
That's not fair.
Next day I was back.
They kicked you out of the entire program?
Yeah. Next day I was back on the ball field, not to see the young lady again for years, because, again, she was in 8th grade, and I was in 9th, and 10th grade I was moving on, and she was still in the junior high and so forth. So, what's the lesson? I think maybe you need to sort of do what you want to do. Makes sense. It makes sense to if I didn't want to take the class for summer school, it wouldn't have been the end of the world, right? I mean,
so if we keep calling her young lady, if we
think someday we could use the name.
You hadn't met the young lady while you were signing up for the classes, would you have signed up for them?
I don't think I would have done it. I wouldn't have wasted my time. Would have had a great time during the summertime. I would have had I would have had the ball.
So you did it for all the wrong reasons.
All the wrong
reasons.
Look,
you were a kid. You were listen. I can't say I wouldn't have done the same thing, but it wasn't because you really wanted to learn. It was like, all right, let me see who else is on the list, and Phoebe Cates walks up next to you and starts putting her name on. Of course, you're going to do the same thing. So
and the swimming, boy, that was it.
That's the topper.
And I thought, like, the swimming is so cool. Like, I'd have a pool. Like, this is like a find. Like, I thought I had hit the lottery in some way, like someone teaching me to swim and swimming in the pool every day.
Did you ever go back? Did you ever pursue swimming and diving again after that?
My dad, I could tell you a quick story, 2 sentences. My next door neighbor had a pool. He one day wouldn't let my brother come over to the pool. I was invited over to his house. JP is his name. You know him. And Jack, and he wouldn't invite my brother over. So as a result, my father got upset. The next day, my father's sitting in a tractor trailer, and he's digging a hole for the pool. And long story short is we put a built-in pool in just about at the time of like this next summer.
I never knew that. That's why your dad put the pool in?
Yes.
Because the neighbor would.
He said, "Wait a minute, Jack Pestle will not. I mean, Jack will not invite your brother over, just you." He says, "Yeah, that's unacceptable." And he just, I don't know if that was, that could have been really the reason, but he could have been thinking that his whole life and just was looking.
Yeah, it might have tipped the scales a little bit.
So I didn't have to, at that point, then I could learn from that point on, with a pool myself. But at that time of this story, I didn't have that pool and so forth. So, I don't know. That's a bit of summer school. That's the only story I have for summer school. It's not as exciting as yours was, but it's there. And the thing,
should I tell mine again?
Yeah, could you? But
should I make something up?
Exactly. Well, the thing is this with the summer school: is there a good reason to go to summer school ever? I mean, is there do you think it's a good idea to go to get extra credits?
No.
You need time off.
I'm not sure
right?
I agree with that guidance counselor. I mean, summers are supposed to be fun, right? If you have to go to school because you're failing, if you have to take summer school, then yes, I think you should. But not on a voluntary basis, no.
Yeah, I agree with you. I think it was askew. When we get back, I want to talk about what we will do or would do and have done in the summers rather than go to summer school. What do we do? We have some vacation time. What do we? What's our fun stuff in the summer? Because it's on the way. We're getting there soon. And let's just finish off by talking about what the summer is going to bring us here. And anything else?
I am pregnant with hope on this one, Doug.
This is Everything Old is New Again, America's entertainment pop culture talk show with Douglas Viviani and David Cohen.
Now, if I hear any giggling, if I see any smirking, this class is over. Do you read me, people? Over. Now, the female reproductive organs look like this.
Why don't you drop a whole lady so we know where everything goes? Yeah, oh my God. Yeah.
The most embarrassing experiences in life is that health class in school. Remember those days?
What was that from?
That was from the Wonder Years. That was Mr. Cutlip, the Robert Picardo. We've had him on the show. Do you remember that?
Okay.
Tell a story about
remember that scene.
Tell a story of that Robert Picardo, that interview, how that we almost fell off the planet. Like, that almost didn't happen. Do you remember what happened, technically speaking?
I don't.
Oh, man, we couldn't get this. We had them all set up and so forth, and we could not get. I think this is definitely before the pandemic, so we weren't Zoom-like efficient. It was a telephone call that we were supposed to call in.
Oh,
remember?
yeah. I remember now. That was horrible.
Oh.
He was very patient, though.
Yeah, he was great, because he called in on the phone line, and for whatever reason, I forget the exact specific, but it wasn't matriculating into our system, so we couldn't hear him on the air. So we had a lot of machinations we went through. Do you remember what we did?
We held the phone up to the mic.
We had him call David Cohen's cell phone, and you held the cell phone up to the mic, and that's how we did the entire interview.
That's crazy.
Yeah,
it worked, right?
Oh, man.
We MacGyvered it.
We did. That was panic of panic. But now we've got Zoom, and I think Zoom may have even existed back then, but it's so funny how technology...
We didn't know what we were doing.
No idea.
It wasn't a big thing before the pandemic, right? Now everyone knows how to use it, or almost everyone.
Exactly. Is Zoom a publicly held company?
I think so.
Wow.
Yeah, it is.
Why didn't I get involved with that? I wonder, their numbers must be way up, no?
I think when the pandemic hit, stock price went way up.
And they're just staying.
I think it's still doing pretty well.
Yeah. Well, we'll talk about summertime here and teachers and let's just talk about that one thing. Do you remember that day when you had to speak to, and we did it in a different way. We had, it's the facts of life with your parents.
How did we get on that?
Because that was what Cutler was just doing there.
Oh.
But I remember at school it was an experience.
Yeah, no, I remember something very embarrassing about that.
It was literally, mine's very quick. What we did was a film on a Friday night. Dad came with us. It was a film that explained it all. And then there was a cocktail party. What do you call it? We just had milk and cookies and whatever after, and a discussion. Raise your hand and ask the health teacher with your dad there if you have any questions about what goes on. And then there was time when you all go home, take some time just to talk to Dad one-on-one about this. And that couldn't have been more of a... I still remember that 55, whatever this is, years later. Couldn't have been more of a horrifying experience. And Dad wouldn't let it go. That's his assignment from the school, to have a one-on-one with your son that night, right then and there. We were all, I remember the lunchtime, we were all mortified that we had to do this. You going tonight? Yeah, Pat, you going tonight? Yeah, I'm going. You're going tonight? Oh, man, what are we going to do? Everybody wanted to get out of not doing this. It was the most horrifying experience I've ever had.
I don't remember ever having to sit through anything like that.
Oh,
That's weird.
Was it not organized by the school at all? I mean,
I don't remember ever taking anything like you described in school.
It was 6th grade. I can remember it to this day. It's etched in my brain. It is the most gut-wrenching.
No, I remember my dad told me how it all worked one time. I didn't ask. He just told me.
That's even worse in some ways. He just snuck up on you and said, "Let's have a conversation."
And I was too young to understand any of it. Because I didn't even know there were anatomical differences between males and females.
So what were you about?
So
I'm
I
going to
didn't
guess
know what he was talking about.
7, 8, 9 in that range, something like that. Maybe
I thought
10?
everybody. I could say this, right?
Yeah.
I thought everyone had a penis, regardless of your gender.
Right.
That was the most shocking thing to me, that my mother did not have one.
But I feel for both of you. I feel for all of us, and that is the most horrifying. Isn't it the worst thing of a parent, son, daughter, whatever relation? When you've got it. But my wife had no problem.
You haven't. But have you had that conversation with your kids?
This is what I'm leading up to. My wife had it with my daughter. They got no problem. They talk about whatever. Everything's out on the table. Everything's open and boop boop. I haven't had it with Leo yet. No, and he's 9, so I still think it's a little early.
Yeah.
He is fascinated with stuff.
Yeah, he probably knows more than you do at this point. But yeah.
Everybody knows more than I do. So that's probably, it's. I guess maybe that's why I bring it up, because it's on the horizon. What is the perfect time? I don't know, 11, 12? Is that about the age?
I don't remember. I just remember I sat my son down and It was the same thing like my dad did to me, and I just explained to him how it worked, and he's very matter of fact. He's like, oh, he shook his head. Okay, thanks. And then what I didn't account for was, what do you talk about next?
How do you change the topic?
It's just like, this is like big thing hanging in the room now, right?
Yeah.
It's done. You explained it, and you're looking at each other, and what do you do now?
Yeah.
Right? I didn't expect that.
You go, okay, let's have some ice cream. Like, what do you?
I don't remember what I did. I said something, I'm sure, just awkward, like, okay, well, Daddy's gonna go. I don't know. Put this mat away. I don't know. This fork seems to be dirty.
I think you need to leave like a job available. Like, I've got to go paint the basement, so you can
right.
have a real
like
reason.
You have to get back to something.
Exactly.
Yeah, I should have thought it through.
Have a fallback, so if it goes bad,
right.
You can say, all right, listen, I'll talk to you later, but I got to finish the basement. I mean, I have to tell you, it is a horrifying black cloud at this point that's small, but it's getting bigger. The storm is coming my way,
Yeah, I did.
Did you feel better when it was over?
Don't make it. My advice to you is don't make it into anything more than it really is.
Yeah, it's not a big deal, really.
It's not.
Use a couple of words that he's never heard before. Maybe you use some. Did you use any audio visual? Did you have any pictures or anything?
No.
Like Cutlip was drawing it on the chalkboard. He was drawing.
No, because I think kids now they know more than we did.
Right.
They have access to information that we didn't have back then.
Very true. Yeah. All right. Well, so we'll prepare for that and look forward to that being over. Oh, that's for sure. Anyway, so we have a couple of minutes left. Are there any?
Why don't we do it? Why don't we have a show about it, Doug? That's perfect, right? Have Leo come into the studio.
Oh, that's good.
We'll do a show where we're hearing you explain the facts of life to him.
That's good. I may do that. That's actually good.
Good for who?
Well, I feel I would assume that you'll be there. So that
I'd love to see it.
You'll see it, but maybe you can put in your 2 cents and help me out when I'm wrong about something like you usually do.
Poor Leo. Oh, the years of therapy ahead for that kid.
Later on, he'll be asked, how did you, we'll have the same conversation, I don't know, 40 years from now. He'll say, oh, I was on the radio. You want to hear it?
Yeah, my dad told me on the air.
It's on YouTube. You want to hear it? We can click it right now. It's got umpteen hits on it, Everybody else has heard it. Why not you? Yeah.
But you never know. Maybe other parents will use it as a tool. They will say, son, I want to talk to you about something, but instead, let's just play this YouTube video of everything old is new.
But how is it that women, am I wrong? And maybe I'm wrong. I could be totally wrong. But it seems to me that women are pretty easy with this. And my wife had it sort of like no real hurdle. It was like
I don't know. I don't have daughters, and
I
never experienced that. I didn't have sisters, so I don't know.
It could be individual to my wife, of course, but it just seems to me that women are more mature, girls are more mature. They can have this conversation, and it's not the end of the world. I just don't feel equipped in any way, shape, or form. But all right, we'll get there. So, if you have any suggestions, email me at oldnewigan.
Why don't you do it? You know what? Tell Leo next time you're driving through a haunted house outside when he's... the listeners who had heard that episode.
Say, Leo, which would you rather do? Go through the haunted house again or discuss the birds and the bees with Dad? Something tells me he would choose the haunted house again. I know I would.
You would, yeah.
That's for sure.
It's your own haunted house you're going through.
Oh, yeah. I live in a household. I do live in a haunted house.
You'll be fine.
All right, so we'll survive. But all right, so that's that. David Cohen, just finishing up 1 minute here of summertime. It's on the horizon. Do you have any advice for anybody? What to look forward to? What to do? What vacations? What do you like to do in the summer?
This summer?
Yeah.
Not really. How did we get onto the birds and bees? What does that have to do with summer vacation?
That was
summer school?
Because we were talking about teachers, and I put a clip in there of the Wonder Years with Mr. Cutlip, and he was teaching sex ed right there, and it was just sort of off the top of my head. We went with that.
Okay, that makes sense. Did we just waste the last minute? Did we fill the last minute of the show?
20 seconds.
20 seconds.
Let's do this. We could use the 20 seconds to promote Everything Old is New Again. Get involved. Shoot us a note. oldnewagan@AOL.com. get on the website, everythingoldisnewagain.biz, right? Everythingoldisnewagain.biz.
Give Doug suggestions about how to approach the birds and bees discussion.
Absolutely.
With the sun.
Call your local radio station. Tell them we want to hear this show all the time. For what reason, I don't know, but give them a call. Get them right on the air, right?
Exactly. Okay, one word of advice when you're talking to Leo about the birds and bees. Please don't use the word pregnant with hope.
You really didn't like that? I tried to be creative. I've
only brought it up 7 times.
But it's because you liked it, or is it because you hated it? That's what I want to know.
It was just very out of the blue. It's just
trying to be literal.
It's not how you speak typically.
No, it isn't like I.
No, it's very. I artistically, I enjoy it, but it's not usually the way you tell a story.
I was sort of thinking of like a pregnant pause, but it didn't work, And I said, well, let me just throw pregnant with hope. I don't know if it means anything, but I'll throw it out there. Make it sound like I'm literal.
I thought it was good. I enjoyed it. Yeah. Just a little weird.
That's me. All right, we'll be back next week. Talk all things. Everything old is new again. Talk all things pop culture, entertainment when we get back. Come on back.